I would like to invite you to a sew along with me using my Jane pattern. Now, if you have been a subscriber to Classic Sewing Magazine, this pattern was released in the autumn 2016 issue, and it comes in sizes 3 through 8. However, if you don't have that, or if you need a smaller size, I do have the pattern available as a PDF download pattern in my Etsy shop, and it comes in sizes 1 through 8, and I will add a link to that down below. I hope to do a video each week so that you've got time to prepare and follow along with us and keep up. However, the videos will remain up and available to watch whenever you choose to make this. So this will give you time to get your pattern traced out in the size that you want, or if you're using the PDF download, that is a layered pattern, so you can just print off the size that you need, and then gather your supplies. For my top that I'm making, I'm using this cute little poodle piqué print, say that 3 times fast, and I've got the mini rickrack that is the same shade of pink, and I'm going to be using the spaghetti bias in the black and white gingham. So I haven't yet determined which one of the other ginghams I will be using for the bias band at the neck and sleeve and hemline, but I'll be making that decision soon. So once you have all of your supplies gathered, before you begin cutting out the pattern pieces, one of the first things that you'll need to do is get a rectangle of fabric, and that will be for the blouse front. Now be aware that you can also make this as a dress. If you're making it as a dress, you're going to need to just do a little bit of recalculating. You need to add length to the top pattern, and remember there's no hem in this unless you choose to put a hem on it. It will be finished with the bias band and the spaghetti bias and rickrack if that's what you choose to do. But you will need a little additional yardage if you're going to make a dress length. So once you have your fabric gathered and you've first cut your rectangle for the dress front, the first thing you need to do is find the center of the rectangle. And to do that, I just fold it in half, and you can finger crease it or you can stick a ruler in there, and then once it was opened up, I marked the fold line at the top and as well as at the bottom, and then used my ruler and drew the line in with a blue washout marker. So that's what you want to do on the front of the garment. If you are using a print, everybody pleats their fabric a little bit differently depending on what pleater you use. When I pleat with the right side of the fabric down. So because of that, one of the first instructions is to draw a line with your blue washout marker 1 inch below the top edge of the torn fabric. So because you need to be able to see that line, I marked it on the wrong side of the fabric. Again, using my ruler and a blue washout marker, I have marked this on the wrong side of the fabric so that I will be able to see the design when I'm pleating. You need to be able to see that line because this line needs to be aligned with the second threaded needle of your smocking pleater. So that's where you're going to start. Choose the smocking design that you wish to make. Included in the pattern is the fox design and the apple design. So if you're going to make one of those, the apple design requires 11 rows of pleating thread. Fox requires 13 pleating rows. So choose your smocking design, or if you're going to be like me, I'm going to make this as a ready to smock, so I'll decide how many rows to pleat. Get your fabric pleated. If you want to make it as a ready to smock, you do not need to do any of your smocking ahead of time. If you wish to smock it before you begin sewing, you can get started on that as well. Okay, so I have my smocked piece pleated, and I just wanted to share this with you before you get going on yours. Even if you're planning to make it as a ready to smock, it's helpful to have chosen your smocking plate ahead of time so that you can leave the appropriate number of pleats in the center of the blouse that you're going to smock. And you'll also notice, now I did align my second row of pleating threads with the blue line that I drew on the back of the fabric, and that does leave a blank area up here that I could have put a pleating row in there, but it's not really necessary. So I already did the counting because I figure everybody knows how to count. You don't need to watch me counting anything. And I wanted to show you that typically what I do is after I've determined the number of pleats, I will pull out and tie off on one side of the top. And you can tie a knot there and then pull it up to the fabric. And to remove these, you can see I've got a really fat tapestry needle. You can also use the eye of your smocking needle. But when you're pulling your threads out of one side, it's helpful to pinch these between your thumb and forefinger on the other side so that you don't inadvertently pull out both sides of the smocking. I have done that before, and it only takes one time for you to be trained to not do that again. So pull out the threads on the one side, and then knot them in 2s or 3s. And then you can tug on the threads on the opposite side to pull your knots up to the fabric. Then this side you don't have to be so careful on because you've got the one side knotted, so the other side it won't be pulling out accidentally, so you can pull several threads at a time. Okay, and once you've got this done, you need to pull this up, and if you've got somewhere around 45 pleats in the center here, you can pull it up to about 2 inches. If you've got more like 55 pleats, you might need to go 2 1/4 inches to tie it off at that width. I would not recommend going more than 55 pleats. That just adds too much bulk to the center, and it also would throw off the measurements of the width that you need to cut for the front block. And I will see you in the next video when we begin sewing.